Welcome in, everyone. I'm your host, Eric. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave us a comment down below. In our description this week, we're going to have some great products in there. So get in there. Make sure you click on some of those links. Today, we have a special guest here to talk about his product. We've got Brendan Tapia from Sweet-Cre. How you doing today, Brendan?
Yeah, doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. We want to know who you are, and we'd like to know how you got into the fitness industry.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a long story, but I'll kind of condense it. But ever since I was in high school, I just loved working out, going to the gym. Like it was, once I graduated, that became my sport. Instead of playing basketball, soccer, whatever, I just loved going to the gym. And then I'd always wanted to start a business, so I was kind of interested in both. And then when I was deciding, I guess, what I wanted to do, I was like, okay, good. Let's start a supplement company because it mixes the best of both. I like fitness, I like business. Didn't know much about either though. So I just kind of started and then just started to learn from there. And, since then, like the brand's been growing and getting, more and more popular. So it just was a mix of both my passions, basically, like business and fitness.
Oh, that's great. So explain exactly what is Sweet-Cre.
Okay, cool. So Sweet-Cre is a flavored creatine monohydrate supplement. There's a couple of different forms of creatine, and the other one that's very popular was like HCl, and there's a couple of different blends and all of this stuff basically. And the whole point of it is that people just try and mix different forms of creatine and then say that it's 7 times more effective because basically it absorbs in water 7 times better. So they try and like do all these fancy spins on it, but we all know that like all of the research has been done on creatine monohydrate. So we know creatine monohydrate works, okay? So that's why I went with creatine monohydrate as the base for the product. And then I had the grains physically mashed up to be smaller so it completely dissolves in water, because normally creatine, whenever you mix it, you'll shake it or stir it, and all of the powder will completely settle back down to the bottom. And it just sucks to drink because you just taste the grains. It's like drinking sand, basically. So first of all, micronized so it dissolves better. That was the first thing. And then flavoring it so it tastes good. It's flavored naturally with just fruit extracts and stevia, so it's all natural flavoring. There's no artificial sweeteners, no added sugar or anything like that. So the whole purpose of the product was just to make it a like enjoyable way to consume creatine, basically.
So what led you to creating this product?
Yeah, so at first, like I said before, I was like interested in fitness and business. So I started to survey to see what supplements people wanted. And based on those surveys, people wanted something that would help them with their performance. It would help, and it was clean, natural, no artificial sweet. Like I got all this information beforehand, created the product based on that information, which then, I had to learn a lot too in terms of finding a manufacturer and everything, because I wanted to find someone in the US and, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so I just had to, I surveyed around, found out what was wanted, created that. And then, yeah, now I've just been, marketing it based on what people want, basically.
That was my next question, was where it's made. You just mentioned it was made in the United States. Is it made locally here in Florida? Is it in a different state or?
Yeah, I found a manufacturer actually 10 minutes from my house, which was like crazy coincidence. The first manufacturer I used was in Georgia. Second one was here local in Florida. And yeah, so they're great. I like them a lot. They basically helped me tweak the formula a little bit with just the flavoring specifically to make it a bit sweeter. And I personally will go to local gyms and sell it. And I've been getting like great feedback from that. People love they like it because it's not, if you have like for example, take Gatorade or something, sometimes it'll be a bit too sweet with all the artificial stuff. So because I was talking literally like watermelon extract, pineapple, like strawberry, like it's just straight up simple stuff, so people like that. It tastes good, but it's not too much,
Yeah. So the one thing I saw in some of your videos on some of your social feeds and YouTube and stuff like that is different ways you can actually take it. I believe you made one into like some ice cube balls or something like that. Can you kind of explain different ways you can actually take it?
Yeah, so that was more for fun. Like So people try and get very creative with how they take creatine because they're trying to avoid just drinking it in a bottle of water because, like I was saying before, it's very grainy. So people will mix it with like their hot like coffee in the morning because the heat will make it dissolve better. I was just messing around and I turned them into ice cubes because the idea was that it's essentially fruit punch ice cubes because that's the flavor I have right now, you know? So other than that, like really how you should take it is just 1 scoop per day, which is going to be 5 grams of creatine. Other than that, don't overthink it. There's no best time. Take it whenever is most convenient. All that matters is that you take 1 scoop per day. So that's, all you got to think about is that.
Okay, so what are the benefits of just creatine in general in its own sense?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people out there like me who, are kind of new to the game of, some of the younger generations and stuff like that. So like you have creatine, you have like pre-workout. So can you kind of explain the difference of that too as well?
Yeah, exactly. So let's first explain like pre-workout. So you have hundreds of different pre-workouts that have different formulas, but they always have or normally have caffeine and then a couple of other stimulants in it. And the whole idea is that you drink it and then you get hyped up and you go to the gym or you go play your sport or whatever. And like it gives you that initial like burst of energy that just, maybe you're tired and it helps you have that initial energy, right? Creatine is something that you take more long term. So let's say right now I was to take a 1 scoop of creatine, I wouldn't be bouncing off the walls like ready to go to the gym. But when you take it over time, after the first 1 to 2 weeks, your muscles actually retain the creatine and then they use it to produce more energy. So the best example for this is like, let's say you're bench pressing. Let's say you do 200 pounds for 6 reps. On your next set, let's say you rested 45 seconds, you might only be able to do 4 reps, as you're getting fatigued. But what creatine does, when it's in the muscle, is it helps your body replenish the energy source that it needs, which is called ATP. It helps it replenish that energy source faster. So you could then, instead of hitting 4 reps, you could have hit 5 reps. You see, for example, it gives you a slight boost like that. Yeah, so it helps you build strength in muscle in that sense, and it also helps you recovery. So it's kind of like a 3-prong attack to just getting like better results.
So unlike a pre-workout, does this have any kind of effect? Like when you take I used to take, for instance, when I would first started working out, I would take BSN products. No Explode was like my favorite thing. I actually got so addicted to No Explode and I loved Red Bull. Instead of using water, I would mix that together and then go warm your own. Yeah, exactly. But the thing is like a lot of pre-workouts, they make you feel like itchy and red and hot, like right after you take it. Is that something that this product does?
So the pre-workout that do that, they contain one specific ingredient that's doing that, and that's called beta-alanine. So that's what gives you that tingly, like if you ever taken niacin before, it gives you that sort of feeling where your body feels like it's tingling, itching. That's from that one ingredient. It's a stimulant that gives you better endurance. So that's why they put it into the pre-workouts. But no, my product is the most basic thing ever. It's like creatine, natural flavoring. That's it. Nothing else.
Gotcha. So if I were to go into a store or whatever and I saw 2 products, your product and another product, why would I want to choose yours over somebody else's product? So why SweetCre over others?
Okay, cool. So 90% so let's just take creatine, like SweetCre versus creatine monohydrate, because now there's all these other fancy blends or whatever. But creatine monohydrate, we all know it works. The problem with it is that the grains are so big and it's unflavored. So it's like, it's very unenjoyable to drink on its own. Like you literally have to force it down. Like I'm talking like it was so bad that for me, I had to dry scoop it just to get it down before I started this because I hated it. It's a very unenjoyable thing to drink on its own. So you can solve that problem by putting it in a protein shake, putting it in a pre-workout, whatever. You can work around it. But let's say you don't go to that gym that day. You're not going to take pre-workout. What are you going to mix it with? Nothing, So this is like a constant solution to take it daily. So those are the two main factors: is that the fact that it actually dissolves in water, and it's flavored so you can enjoy it on its own. So those are the factors I would set it aside. Other than that, the fact that it's naturally flavored is another pretty big one, because there's a couple of other, like I was saying before, with all these fancy blends. Like I know Rich Piana's company, like 5%, or talking about the 5%er brand. He has a creatine. It's got like multiple forms of creatine plus flavoring, but it's artificially sweetened. So one of the stores that holds my product, they're like, yeah, people will choose yours over his because of the fact that it's naturally sweetened.
Yeah. Well, that's great to hear. So how does your product, especially, have you noticed a trend amongst athletes and how it's working for them? Because I know you're around them a lot. I coach football.
Yeah.
You're around the guys that are taking it now on the football team and some other athletes around. How is that really affecting them?
Yeah. So the first sign I know it's doing good is the fact that they keep coming back for more. And so I know that that's a good sign right off the bat. But other than that, yeah. So I'm around the football guys a lot. Also, when I go sell at local gyms, I will see people that already bought the product consistently. And it's great because I'll have people come up to me or even message on Instagram or wherever and just tell me different results. Like I had two kids yesterday both message me. One of them, like, he was plateaued on bench. They're like 17, something like that. Plateaued on bench like 215 for months, but then once he started taking Sweet-Cre, he started to climb up again, and he hit like 245. So he was like super hyped up about that, which is great. I mean, I'm not trying to say like, yeah, it was because of Sweet-Cre. He definitely worked hard, but it does give a boost for sure. And then this other kid he sent me just a progress pics. He's like, dude, look at the difference. This was 1 month ago. Like it looked good. It was very impressive. Like a funny story that happened like this is this one older guy that bought it. I was, selling at LA Fitness, and he came up and he was like, this stuff needs to be illegal. I was like, oh no, what happened? He was like, he started listing off all of his weights, on different exercises. My bench went up by 10%. My squat went up by 20. And, I was like, oh, thank God, this guy's like, whatever. He's like my biggest fan, but I was, it was a really funny story because I was like terrified at first. But anyway, it's just good that people are actually having good results, and I do have like a good base of returning customers. So I know for sure that it's not just like some sort of placebo, like people take it because it tastes good. They're actually seeing some sort of result from it.
Right. So have you had what's the highest level of an athlete have you been able to really get going on this? Has it just been high school level, college, pro, any?
So people that I know, because whenever I get online purchases or whatever, I don't really know who it is, but the people that I know have bought it have been like some people, that are some athletes that are going to different D1 schools and stuff. And one thing that's there was a kid that goes to another local high school around here. He's like some D1 soccer legend. I didn't know this, but he bought like a bunch from me. And then whenever I would go to sell at different local gyms, like people would follow on Instagram, like right in front of me. They'd be like, oh, like he follows you? I was like, yeah, he bought some. They're like, oh, cool, let me get some. So it's cool. Like, yeah. So I'd say it's been, for what I know, more so high school, high level athletes.
Yeah, going into college and then eventually.
Exactly. Yeah.
Eventually it's going to make. Yeah, eventually make its way into the pro level. That'd be great.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
So then one of my last questions for you is what does the future hold for Sweet-Cre? Do you plan on branching out into other types of supplements, or is this just the one supplement you're going to stick to? What's the future hold for you?
So this is the plan. I'm going to stick only to creatine, flavored creatine. I'm not going to get into pre-workouts, post-workouts, nothing like that, because I want this to be what the brand is. I am going to expand into different flavors, which I've been surveying for, so that I will figure out my next flavor soon. But yeah, so I will just continue to expand on flavors and just be the creatine guy. That's the idea. I want to be the creatine guy.
That's amazing. That's amazing. All right. So thanks again for coming in today, Brendan, and talking about your product.
Yeah, of course. No problem. If anybody does want to check out the products, I think that you'll be able to put a link below. And that way you guys will be able to get the best deals. Like if you want to subscribe, we'll get up to like 50% off. And if you want to be able to just get a bunch in bulk, I have some good deals there too. So just check that out.
Thanks everyone for listening to this episode of Clueless Sports Dad podcast. Tune in for more episodes by following us and subscribing. And don't forget to hit that like button.